Restore is my word for 2023. And a big part of that will be sharing how God has restored and will continue to restore what the enemy has stolen. And today I want to talk to you about trusting your gut. As a survivor, my gut can be super sensitive. I can read a room or sense a vibe in someone that rattles my insides. But, and this is a big but, as a survivor, I also struggle with control and people pleasing. I've had my voice suppressed, and while I do have a voice now, it can still be like a turtle that retreats into its shell when it's intimidated or threatened. When I tell you that I scan the news every day to find the article that's out there for that day about sexual abuse, I do, and it never takes me long to find it. I read books, I watch movies, and I do this to understand the dynamics of abuse, how to prevent it, how to heal from it. When I speak, I always incorporate my story into the message because I know how infrequently the message is shared. And I know how desperately the message needs to be shared. But just because it's important to me, it's not important to everyone. But it's my story. It's the story God has given me. It's His story for me. He gave me the story to share. And it's not always popular. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. And that's hard for me because I want to be liked. My superlative in high school was to be the teacher's pet. Not to be the most successful or the most likely to blah, blah. My superlative was the teacher's pet. So that can tell you how much I people please. And it bothers me when someone's upset with me or doesn't like me. It just shuts me down. But that's a whole nother topic on its own. We'll talk about that later. Back to my gut and trusting it. As believers, our gut is the Holy Spirit. Our gut, the Holy Spirit, is with us. It's inside of us. It leads us and it guides us always. But do we listen and surrender and respond? I can honestly say not always for me. And here's why. For me, I am learning that it's about control and people pleasing. So even when all of these alarms are going off inside of me, telling me that something is off, I may shrink back and think, I'm just overreacting about my past. Maybe I'm just triggered and it has nothing to do with them. It's just me. I'm over the top. Can you see how control and people pleasing are at play here? I'm trying to control what my gut is telling me because I don't want to upset the apple cart. Trust your gut. Another way I'm learning to listen to my gut or the Holy Spirit is by paying attention. I pay attention to what my body and spirit is telling me. And when it's filled with angst, or another way of putting it is when there is no peace, I have to pay attention. There were two recent situations in my life where I was filled with angst. There was no peace. And I thought I was doing what God told me to do, what He called me to do. I didn't want to upset anyone or make anyone mad at me. And honestly, I felt guilty because I was not at peace. But that's a whole nother survivor struggle where we think it's our fault and we think we've done something wrong. And so I didn't want to get it wrong. And in one of these situations, I stayed in angst without peace for over a year. I thought acknowledging the angst and doing something about it and responding to it would upset God. Wasn't I doing what He called me to do? But here's the thing. When the Holy Spirit is saying stay, stop, or go, we have to pay attention. even if that means upsetting the apple cart. So as soon as I finally responded to what my gut was telling me to do all along, I not only had confirmation that it was the right decision, but I also had peace, sweet peace. And that peace from Jesus is priceless. As survivors, we spend a lot of energy learning how to read the room. We try to anticipate the next moves, how to be safe. Our minds are constantly figuring things out. That radar that's inside of us is strong. It's worked extra hard all of our lives. Your instincts are powerful and mighty. The evil and the pain that the enemy caused was intended to harm you, but God is going to restore it all, and He will use it for good. Trust your gut. When you are not having peace, when you are experiencing that angst inside of you, pay attention. When something is off, dig deeper. Pray. Be open to the Holy Spirit showing you more so that He can say to you, this is the way. Walk in it. Trust your gut. That's the message. Trust your gut.